So, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder, John. The channel for Arsenal fans. I tell you what, I'll just say that before we went live. And just the beginning up until now, for me, it's just been a no-go. Say no go, say no go. But we're going to be covering the game yesterday and some other bits of transfer news maybe. And there's some comments from Adebayor. I wish he'd keep his mouth shut, but I'm sure John will tell us about that. John, I can't do it, mate. I can't do it. You know what? We're getting to on the other side of this music intro. So here we are. Here we have a Canon project. Monday evening, early. Yeah, we've got the crazy gang are back. You remember the crazy gang, Wimbledon? The crazy gang. Well, I've got my own crazy gang here.
Here he is.
John, how's it going, man? How's it going?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's all good for me, but the football's terrible, isn't it? I feel sorry for the fans. I really, my heart bleeds for them paying fans at the moment. They just ain't getting their money's worth, you know. I don't know if Terry goes, then he'd tell you more, but it's I'd ask for my money back if I was going.
Richard, how's it going?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Getting there, and better result could have been better yesterday, but it is what it is. Spurs lost, so it's not all doom and gloom.
You're very quiet, lads. Is there any way of boosting the sound?
I can have a look at that. I'll have a look on my mixer. It might be something
on here, but I can only hear you just slightly.
Oh, right.
I'll boost you up.
Yeah, I'll check my volume settings. It might be something there.
Press the accelerator.
Testing.
Buy 2 words. That might just work. How's it going, Godfather? You all right?
Yeah, as I say, you sound like you're 1,000 miles away. I've just come back from our old enemy. This will be me and John there. Leeds. I've come back from Leeds, man.
Oh, Leeds.
Oh, yeah.
And I sat in a car park in Leeds. I managed to get a stream of the Arsenal match. And all these years later, after going up there when we won the championship in '71, I was back up in a car park cheering Arsenal on.
Dirty Leeds.
Dirty Leeds, yeah. Right.
So, Richard, your thoughts, man? The game.
Well,
Richard.
I mean, I think first half hour we weren't moving that ball quick enough. We were slow, ponderous, and I point to 2 saves from Nick Pope, especially the Smith Rowe one. If that's Allison or Edison, we're saying that's a world-class save. Saw it late, and it was low down. Other than that, you look at Lacazette missing glaring chances. It's obvious where our problems are lying at the moment. And again, on the bench, what was that bench? There was only Enquiries and Tavares there as senior players. It shows where the squad is lacking and how we need to reinforce.
Mm-hmm. But do you not think? I mean, do you think any of the players who are out on loan could have done a better job, Richard?
Doesn't matter what I think; it's what Arteta thinks. And to be honest, has Nelson shown anything as Balogun in the limited chances he's at the beginning of the season? Not yet. And again, with Balogun, he's young, so I think Maitland-Niles, you might you might say that might have been a mistake, but to be honest, he's not. I don't class him as a midfield player. He's a decent utility player that can fill in right back, left back, and other places, but he's not an out and out midfielder. Not from what he's shown in the time we've had him.
Right. John, your thoughts, man. I think I really know what you think, John.
I'm just so disappointed. I'm not Arteta's #1 fan, but I got behind him, hoping it's going to improve. We keep being deceived. You know what I mean? We get to a point. We hammered Sunderland, we hammered Norwich. All of a sudden, we're Champions League material and going to win the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. I kind of bought into that a bit myself, but bosh, back down to earth, reality check, and we've scored 1 goal since January. Well, the first goal, January the 1st, Saka, weren't it? And nothing since. Them stats speak for themselves. We need strikers and another creative midfielder and a defensive midfielder. We're just too under strength all over, aren't we? Defense I'd say is pretty much sorted, but probably need another keeper now. But the attacking side of it, it's terrible. I watched the game yesterday. 20 shots, it said in the stats. Well, I must have missed half of them because I didn't see any. And to be fair, I think the shots I know Richard said we had a couple of good shots, which we did, but they was all kind of outside the box. There was Laka had a kind of, that was a clear-cut chance, but the other lot weren't that clear. They were good shots, but, that was bread and butter to that goalkeeper. I don't know. Yeah. To me, we should be battering teams like Burnley. Worst team in the league. That team should have been put to bed. 2-0 minimum. 2-0 minimum. That should have been the score. Come away with the 3 points. Have your nice break in Dubai. Come back and get on with the football. But, now, as fans, we're all sitting here depressed, scratching our heads, thinking, what's going on? And are we going to buy anyone? Because personally, I've got my doubts. It's like just... actually, John, sorry, John, very quickly. It's about Arsenal are preparing to offer Arteta a new contract. Is he deserving of a new contract at this point in time? In football terms, no, he ain't. No way. But I'll bet you bottom dollar he gets one. And if he gets one before the end of the season, that's terrible. It's just, well, in our level of football as an Arsenal supporter and what I want personally, he's got to be an higher level than what Arteta is bringing us. And he's not all to blame. He's not all to blame. The people above him have got a lot to answer for. You know what I mean? It's all been thrown at him. So I'd say no. If it was me, I'd say, sorry, mate, you've had your chance. But we can't keep doing that. You've got to have some sort of continuity, ain't you? Otherwise, we're going to be like Man United. You know what I mean? Tottenham. So, maybe they have got to give him longer. Personally, I wouldn't. But there you go. That's me.
Godfather, your thought, man?
Well, I think Arteta long term is going to prove to be a good manager, and I know we're offering him a new contract. And from what I hear, they're a bit worried that he'll get poached. He'll if Pep wins the Champions League with Man City and does a trio of EPLs. I think Pep will be off, and of course Arteta will be the ideal guy to sort of go in there. He obviously knows all the coaching staff, most of the players, and unfortunately Arteta's making all his mistakes with Arsenal. So I do think he's fine. I think Emery was also a very good manager, and he proved that as soon before he joined us, and as soon as he left us. But I think long term, Arteta is a modern manager. He's got some modern ideas. He's got some things wrong. He's got some things right. On balance, he's got more things right than he has wrong. when you think about it, he inherited a club with Mustafi as a centre back, for crying out loud. You know, he must have gone in there and gone, what's happened to this club? And I'm only mentioning one. We could all read off 4 or 5 or 6 players that had to go. Socrates, very nice fellow, according to my son. His friend at work was a very good friend of his and met him after the day after the debacle out in Baku. And she met him for a coffee up there in Oxford Street, and he was very down, you know. And he's a regular guy, but you don't build a top team by employing regular guys, you know. And he did get rid of at least a few of the players we all knew had to go. But he's made some bad errors, and I think his number one error has been to continue with Xhaka and not look for somebody who can do something similar. I mean, just to back that up, if you notice, before he started this round of sendings off, he was pushing Xhaka into more of a number 8 role, so that he wasn't being asked to run back and defend, because he can't defend. I mean, I've always been calling him a half a player. The half of him that's good is superb. Once he's in that final third, he strokes balls through, lovely weight of pass, lovely vision, but don't ask him to turn around and defend, because he can't do it. He just can't do it. My old granny would probably do a better job, you know. So, you know, why he didn't get rid of him earlier on and get someone in, I don't know. I know he's very popular amongst the players. And I've got to say this, guys, if you notice with Torreira, he came to us from an Italian club, didn't look up to pace in the EPL, very tidy player, but a small space player. He'd be good in 5-a-side, 6-a-side, and so on. But on the big pitches, he didn't have that kind of extra pace. Now he's back in Italy. He's looking like a fine player again. And if you notice, when we keep buying these guys, sometimes like what's his name, Partey or Thomas, or whichever of the twin brothers goes out, he's lacking that little zip of pace, you know. Lovely player, he's got all those lovely qualities, but he lacks pace. You can close him down. He's got a dodgy first touch as well, which Brian Clough, who's from our era, John, Brian Clough always said the first thing he looked at when buying a player was the player's first touch. Well, there was do you remember about 3 matches ago, we had a throw on, and Tavares threw it to Thomas or Partey, and then Partey sort of tapped it back to him, and both the throw was wrong, the first tap was wrong, and the second pass was almost created a goal. So I think it actually did create a goal for whoever we were playing. So, you know, there's bad touch, but more importantly, if you're going to get these players, they've got to have lightning pace. Give Thierry Henry one thing, that okay, he came from the Italian league and he was very young, he was about 21 at the time, but he had lightning pace. So if I was Arteta and his scouts, I'd say be very careful, because a player can look good in La Liga and so on, but suddenly if they haven't got lightning pace, it's all going to go belly up very, very soon. So he's learning. He must be learning that. He must know that Partey, for all his quality, lacks that zip. It's the acceleration. He can run at a good speed, but he's got to get up to gallop. He needs about 10 yards before he's up to speed. And you offered in midfield don't have that. So, and I'm sure that's why they played Xhaka in that sort of in that middle and final third, because he does look dynamite there. So I really hope at the moment they get a tall centre forward. In the several last few matches, we've been putting in cross after cross, and we've got a guy that's about 5'9" at centre forward. So it isn't going to work. So obviously the 2 guys he's looking at, this Dusan Vlahovic, and this Alex. A lot of people are pronouncing it Isaac, right? It looks to us like Isaac. He's 6'4". He's not particularly known as a good player in the air, but if he's 6'4", he should be. So I've got a feeling we might end up with Isaac now. You know, listen to me. If you're trying to get a player and you're persuading him and you're doing all the stuff and he's still humming and hawing, forget it. Walk away. Because if he doesn't want to play for us, he's just doing it for the money, then you've got an Alex Song. And if any of you want to look this one up, there was an interview recently in the newspapers where Alex Song, who looked good when he was playing for Arsenal, he went off to Real Madrid. He earned an absolute king's ransom, and they said to him, "Yeah, but you're on the subs bench. Well, haven't you got ambition?" He said, "No. I'm only in it for the money. I'm only in it for the money." Now, if you're only in it for the money, then you will do things like that. And to me, I want Vlahovic or whoever comes in. Yes, they're going to get paid a king's ransom, but if your heart isn't in it, if you don't want to put on that red and white jersey with the cannon on the front and your name on the back, walk away. I don't want you. You're going to be trouble. Every striker hits a barren patch, and when that happens, you're going to be looking. You're going to say, "I wish I went to Juve or AC Milan." So my summation is that stick with Arteta, but it's a long process. If you think about Klopp, it took him 4 or 5 years before he turned it round there. So I'd give Arteta another 2 years after this season. Because he just hasn't got. He's got a good 11. His first 11 is good, and maybe his first 12 or 13. But this time of the season, you need strength in depth. You've got heavy pitches. You need the big guys. You need the strength, and we just haven't got strength in depth. We've got some lovely young players coming through. And one last thing, we got what's his name? Oh my God, what's his name? Nketiah, we got him as a cast-off from Chelsea. A lot of people have forgotten that. Chelsea had him on their youth team books, and they said, nah, he hasn't quite got it. Well, we saw him, was it against Sunderland, who are 2 divisions below us? He's dynamite. Well, of course he's dynamite, because it's 2 divisions below us. It was going off his knee, off his backside, off whatever. But when you get into the top, when you're eating at the big table with all the big guys, he doesn't do it. And we know he doesn't do it. And I'm really surprised that Arteta hasn't spotted that. Now, I'm not saying you can't get young players as cast-offs and turn them round. There's one lad, I'm going to say his name here now. His name is Tim Akinola. And he's a small guy. He's about 5'7". He's built strong, really strong. He's a bit like that Adama Traore, who I've always rated, and has gone off to Spurs, I think, which is very unfortunate. He's built like Adama Traore, but shorter. And he came from Huddersfield Town, believe it or not, as a youth winger. And I noticed they've been playing him at right back recently. So I'd love to see him come through. I'm not saying you can't do well with people's cast-offs. Of course you can. But I just never rated Nketiah. I don't think he's up to standard. And anyway, that's sorry, I'll keep hogging it. But that's the way I see it. It's long-term.
All right. Richard, what happens if Arteta does not secure at least the minimum being like a European spot?
Well, you've got to say that's not good enough, isn't it? I mean, your European competition is a must for him. We're in a good place. We do need 2 players in this window. We need another midfielder and an attacking option, because we're short. I like Arteta. I like what I've seen. Yeah, he makes mistakes. He's new. He's always going to make mistakes, but he's cleaned out a lot of deadwood. We still only got a bit like Cal said. I think we've got a good first 15. Our problem is 15 to 25, and that's where we need to improve. And he's come out and he said we need the next caliber up now. He said we've got some decent players here, but we still need an improvement on them. And he's admitted that himself. So he knows where the issues lie. Can we do it? And will the board and Edu get that for him? That's the big question. I'd like to see that contract at the end of the season, not now, because I think if he doesn't get top European football, then you have to question whether a new contract's worth it. But considering you've backed him this season with buying young players, maybe they will give him the extra time to make those young players come good. So I think, I mean, I'd like to see us get top four, or at least Europa League. I mean, top four was always going to be a big ask at the beginning of the season, but coming into December where we were, it looked a very good chance, didn't it? It's now what we do in the last week.
Yeah.
Let's see what we do in this last week, if we do anything.
John, you've got the mic.
Can I just square something up? I've heard this rumour going around that Man City are after Arteta. Get that out of your head. No way a Man City wanting Arteta. Believe me, they will go for a lot more higher caliber man than Arteta. They might want him back as a coach, but they don't want him back as a manager, in my opinion. We've still got fourth place to play for. So being a pessimist, we're still in there, you know. We can technically get fourth place. Technically. Whether we're going to do it or not, that's another kettle of fish, you know what I mean? Top six, I would say now, because looking at what's happening and what's just going by the pattern of the season so far, if that continues, we won't get top four, although we can get the top four. I don't know what the hell's going on with Alba, the situation. Nothing, he's still not come out, and no one's still telling the truth of what actually happened in the first place, have they? You know, he's been to, you know, the AFCONs, and he's come back. He was meant to be very ill. Now he's okay, which is good. But we're still not being told. He was out partying a couple of nights before, and that's got to play on the other players' mind, you know, because at the end of the day, Alba, he should be in that team. Just purely football-wise, he should be back in as a striker. But obviously, that ain't happening anytime soon. And I can't see that situation being resolved, because him and Arteta, once Arteta's made up his mind, it seems like you're out the window. That's it. Do you know what I mean? Unless he gets pressure off Stan Kroenke, he says, look, mate, you've got to play him. You know, he might turn around and say, you have to play this bloke. We can't sell him. We're paying him his money. Put him in the team. You know, it's a bit political, isn't it, with him? It's, that shouldn't even be talking about that, but it is. We have got a team that can get the fourth spot. I will say that. If everyone's back and he gets them players all firing on all cylinders again, I think they could get the fourth spot, because, you know, West Ham, Tottenham, United, they're probably on the same sort of par. Man United, I might be a bit more fearful of at the moment, and Tottenham, because they've got the strike force. At the moment, we can't score goals, so where them goals going to come from all of a sudden? Just say we come back from Dubai with the same team, no strikers, no new strikers, no new midfielders. I'm going to be very worried. Do you know what I mean? I think most of us Arsenal fans will. You know, if he ain't bought anyone, and we're carrying on with this same lot, we will struggle to get that fourth spot. With an addition, well, we've got to get a striker. I would say two now. I would say two.
Yeah.
For me, Eddie, I do like that guy, but I don't think, you know, he's not top level player. He's not. He's had his chance. He's differing with his contract. They ain't said nothing about that. But do you know what? You may find him and Alba still in that same team when they come back. This is the way Arsenal are going. You know, I think they don't sort nothing out properly. You know what I mean? They don't. The management skills and the men above them don't sort nothing out properly. And I think we could still be stuck with Alba and Eddie playing. Honestly, nothing surprised me. Because all these strikers they're on about buying at the moment, they're all going by the wayside. When are they buying them? How many days is it to go now?
7, isn't it?
7. You know what I mean? A week to go.
7 days.
You need a top striker. It should have been sorted months ago, not halfway through a season. It's madness, really. It's just so depressing. But we're still in there with a good shout. Arteta should be thinking, yeah, all guns blazing. Let's go to Champions League spot. You know, that's what he's got to be aiming for. But performances like Burnley, if we get any more of that, that's it. That's all out the window.
Yeah, and John, of course, there's been some comments from our ex-striker, Emmanuel Adebayor.
Yeah, I know. What's he piping up for? You know what I mean? He just go and retire wherever you're meant to retire. Keep quiet, you know. How long ago was it he played for us? 10 years ago? I don't know. Then he went to our rivals, Tottenham, didn't he? Adebayor, he's just coming out of the woodwork, making trouble, isn't he? Kicking us while we're down.
Well, you obviously needed a 5 or for a point or something.
Yeah, he's probably you write some rubbish about us, isn't he? You know? He's getting his 2 pence working.
Dear.
Well, it's a bad situation with Alba still, isn't it? You know, it's all been swept aside. Nothing's getting said by Arteta. You know, well, you know, if you're a paying fan, he's your number 1 striker. I want to know why ain't he playing, and why? What was the situation? You know, why ain't he playing? What's the story between him and Arteta? No one knows. It's all hushed up, isn't it? So we're all guessing. Yeah. You know.
But John, would you be happy if we just signed 1 player in the transfer window? No.
They've got them young kids need backup now, and like I say, there's no point buying some more youngsters. They need a proven striker, you know, that can do the business. I was just looking, them top 2 fellas in the Championship might be worth giving a chance, you know, if they can't buy anyone. The Serbian guy, I think he plays for Fulham, has got about 27 goals. And the guy behind him, I think he's from Chile, Beriton or something, he's got about 20 odd goals. These are tough guys. They're hungry, you know what I mean? They want it. They might not be proven in the Premier League, but buy one of them and then another top class one as backup, you know. They've got to me, they need minimum of 3 more players. But do you know what? I can't see it happening. I'm like you, Alex. I can't see this happening. I think they're just kidding. They're kidding everyone on. You know, make sure you renew your membership. Season tickets. But yeah, they definitely need.
Buy the new kit as well.
Yeah. Well, they've got another new one out, and they are yellow, and it looks like a Ghanaian kit, doesn't it? Yellow, black, and green, I think. And you know, they got the cheek to call it. It's a pre-match top. I've never heard the like of it. Pre-match top. So soon they're gonna have a pre-match top.
It's supposed to be like a tube train seat on the Piccadilly line, isn't it? It's supposed to be the same colours.
Yeah,
I suppose if you wear it and you're sitting on a tube train, people don't even know if there's anybody sitting there. So you can end up with somebody sitting on top of you. Sorry, mate, I didn't see you there. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Right, while he's gone, I'm going to put up for Alex playing centre forward for us, because Alex, you're about 6'1" or 2. So what about it, man?
On some days he'll blind the keeper.
Yeah, and you've got to be very careful sitting on them tube train seats, don't you? You want to check before you sit on it, you know what I mean? You're never quite sure what's been on it. Especially after a football special. You definitely don't want to wear one. you know, I'm sure they make a fortune out of selling them. We're
Yeah.
probably all wrong. They make a fortune out of it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the fan base is incredible. They release a 6 kit, 7 kit, and people still go and buy it, won't they? So gullible.
Yeah.
So gullible.
I think we
It's
have,
really awful the way that it's money, 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 isn't it? I remember when my son Mike was about, I don't know, 7 or 8, and I brought him up the clock end where the Arsenal shop was at the time, and it's summertime, and I bought him the full kit, and he didn't want to go home. He wanted to just go round the corner, strip off, and put it on. And he was going, yeah, 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 and punching the air. And of course, what Arsenal and all the clubs are doing, it's not just us, they're relying on that. You know, they're relying on pumping out this stuff, 3rd kit, 4th kit, lunchtime kit, morning kit, pajama kit, you know. And apparently, somebody put up on our Cannon Fodder WhatsApp thing that Stanley Kroenke, Uncle Stan, who's driven by money and not by winning trophies, he's in court currently because he took the St. Louis Rams and brought them all the way to California. And there's all kinds of trouble because he's being taken to court for it. I mean, this is like saying to Arsenal, sorry, lads, we're going to get a lot more money if we bring you to New York. So don't worry about that. We're just bringing you to New York. And because from St. Louis to California is a massive distance. It's probably the same, probably not quite as far, but it's a big distance, you know. And he's trying to settle out of court because he doesn't really want to be found guilty, because that would have all kinds of ramifications in the future. So he doesn't want the case law stopping him doing that again. So he's trying to settle it out of court. So I'm afraid everything I read about Kroenke is not about Arsenal, and it's not about the St. Louis Rams as they were in St. Louis. It's about money. It's about money. And the final twist of the knife is when we go out to play, we now look like Piccadilly line seats. That's crazy. But it's money.
Richard, do you want to say anything before we go into the live chat?
Yeah, I think we need two players in this window, and then probably another 3 to 4 in the summer. We need a new right back, 2 central midfielders, a striker, and a winger or another attacker that can play across those front 3 positions. And that's how I see it. On top of, and then you're progressing, and then you're just going to have to build up the quality from there, aren't you? But you still need decent quality in those positions to. I mean, Tomiyasu has been brilliant at right back, but you need somebody to challenge him.
Can I just say, lads, I think Edu in the last transfer window did a fantastic job, and Arteta with him. Between the two of them, they got some very good buys at very good prices. Maybe Lokonga isn't quite ready, but obviously Tomiyasu was a fantastic buy. They did very, very well. So, and there was a horrible thing which people might have seen, where one of the Arsenal fans, who's obviously had a seat near the director's box, gave some verbal abuse to Edu. And Edu's wife was sitting next to him, and she turned round, because Edu can't do nothing. He's an employee of the club. He has to swallow sort of, dog's abuse, which wouldn't be allowed in a court of law. And luckily, it's a bit rude, but Edu's wife turned around and gave the middle finger to this bloke. And I think Edu's kid was sitting there as well. It was just like, what other job do you do when people start abusing you, and and you've got your kid next to you, you've got your wife next to you? So I think Edu, he's a gooner. I think Edu has done a fantastic job as best he can, And I know they've appointed a coach for Germany, because he doesn't know the European market quite so well. So we've got a new guy on board for that. But he knows the South American market, and he's doing a job. And Arteta is doing a job, because he vetoed one player they were looking for that Tottenham ended up buying, a right back, and Emerson Royal was it, and he's turned out to be a right duffer. So You know, between the two of them, they're doing the job. But if you're going to turn a football club round, it's like turning an oil tank around. It takes time. Do you all remember the semi-final where we played Man City and Guardiola had only been there about a season and a half, and we ended up winning 2-1? Yeah. Now that wasn't because Guardiola was doing a bad job. It just was because he hadn't been in the job long enough. So I think that might have been 2017. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
so I think they're going to leave Arteta where he is. It will cost Uncle Stan a lot more if he sacks Arteta and his backroom team. He's going to have to pay off their contract, so he ain't going to be doing that one. And I think Arteta will get there. But you know what? It's a tricky one. But there won't be much between fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth place, I don't think, at the end of the season. And if I were a betting man, which I'm not, and you can't be that now, because otherwise you get somebody gives you a tug because they say there's some betting irregularities here. But were I a betting man, and I wouldn't be telling Shaka this one, I would probably put us at around about sixth.
I'll stick with 8th. I reckon we're going to finish 8th at the end of the season. But anyway, let's go into live chat and see who has joined us on this one here. And we've got our moderator for this particular Cannon Prod, Ashley D says, welcome to all Cannon Prod TV and the Crazy Gang. The Crazy Gang are in the house. We've got a question here. Can Arsenal realistically secure top 4? If not, surely Arteta goes, Richard?
It depends on what happens in this last few days. If we get a top striker and we get that extra midfielder in, then I don't see why not. But at the moment we're short of bodies and quality bodies.
Yeah.
For you, John?
Well, yeah, we can realistically do it, but without reinforcements and heavy duty ones, for me, they ain't going to get the full spot. No chance.
Yeah, yeah. For you, Tel?
Well, you know, I think 6th place is probably more realistic. I think that's as far as we're going to kind of get. You know, I mean, we could squeeze top 4, but as Richard said, you're going to have to get personally, I think we need a good defensive midfielder, a bit of a bulldog who's got some pace about him and snarls and frightens people and not fouls them. I mean, the last thing I'd say to any club in a big match is I don't want anybody sent off, because if we're playing 10 against 11, it's a nightmare. But so yeah, we definitely need a defensive midfielder and a big attacker, somebody good in the air, somebody strong, brave, causes all kinds of mayhem. And if you get that, but you've what's it, the 24th now? We've only got another 7 days, man, and then it's you know, so he's got to get his skates on. But as I said earlier, if this Dusan Vlahovic is dragging his feet, move on.
Yeah, yeah. Here. This one says, where are we? Is doing the bare minimum at the moment. Nothing different from what Eddie Howe is doing. Okay. Al says Arteta has no management skills, and that says it for me. 7 days and no player purchased. Ridiculous, to say the least. John.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
But on that.
Well, I think this chap here has underlined what we all know. If he wasn't going to play Ainsley Maitland-Niles, why not sell him in the summer and have brought in a replacement for him then? But to virtually not play him, you know, through the first half of the season, sell him, and suddenly our midfield players are either dropping like flies, getting red cards, or off to the African Cup of Nations. It's just bad management. But I personally think that what's going on is Arteta's holding too much to himself. And if you do that, all the little details or obvious details can suddenly shoot past you, and that was a massive error. And in the end, Ainsley, for all his, I don't want to play in midfield, and I do want to play in midfield. I don't want to be a right back. As soon as he got over to Roma, they had him playing right back. So he might as well have stayed.
I think his girlfriend wanted to move, didn't she?
Might be.
I think his girlfriend wanted a bit of sunshine.
Oh, mate, it might be she fancies the special one.
She preempted it for a bit of sun.
I wouldn't trust him.
Maybe that's why
Arteta hasn't got the players. Yeah, Arteta hasn't got the players to achieve championship spot. We'll probably end up in mid-table. Yes, mid-table. That's how I see us progressing in the league. Burnley at home, and what happens? Nothing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good, the optics. And we've got a familiar live chat. Tim Hogan, Mr. Daniel Day-Lewis. It's great to see you all lads on the train home.
Hey!
All
All right, Tim.
Good journey home, mate.
Yeah. And Ian Barrow, who I believe is a Darlington supporter, is a on Canada for a team at leader. Hi guys, and you as well, Ian. I hope you're keeping well.
Oh yeah.
So in a 2-week and a little bit break. Has the break come at the right time, Richard?
Well, it's been because of the Winter World Cup, isn't it? It's one that has been introduced for that, and you've got some weird internationals. I think is it some Caribbean countries playing. No, it's not all countries are playing in this break. So, but I think it will do good to go recharge batteries in Dubai. Like we've got a match out there planned, so maybe get some of those players back that are out injured and things. Xhaka will be back, so it's an experienced body back on the field when we come back against Wolves. I don't know about Partey. Is it one match ban for you? Two yellows. So he might
one,
be
I think.
I believe so.
Yeah. So he might be back as well. So we'll sort of look stronger in the middle of the park, and we'll see where we go from there. And hopefully we've got 2 new faces in at least. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I think there's very little doubt that there's some of our players are being overplayed, and our poor mate Saka, what is he, 19, and he looks lethargic, he looks slow, he's doing his best, but he just hasn't got that little zip of pace. You got to be careful. Arteta talks about minutes. That's his phrase. The players played a lot of minutes, meaning over a period of time. But and then he keeps playing him. And the body language of him in the last game or two looks as though he's very frustrated with what's going on around him. And I don't want him to sort of leave Arsenal, because I think, as Klopp said, he's a fantastic player. Then you've got Martinelli, who's doing really well. But be careful, Arteta. These are still young lads. Don't overplay them. Keep their spirits up. And if necessary, get out there quickly and get these 2 players, even if you get them on loan, get a big centre forward who'll cause all kinds of mayhem, and get a defensive midfielder. Get that sorted out. People forget when we had the famous back 4 or back 5 with Dixon, Winterburn, Keown, Adams, and so on. When we had that, and Stevie Bold, when we had them, we had our best midfield was the double pivot of Emmanuel Petit and Patrick Vieira. Nobody ever got at our back line. A bit like Klopp's team the other day. They had Van Dijk and they had Matip, and then Matip went off and Konate came on. At no point did any of our players get at their back 2 centre backs.
I think
that's how you play.
I think there was a chance, and Fabinho slid in the box, didn't he, and got the ball away, and And it's that sort of player there that just sits and shields and
Yeah.
And when we had Vieira and Petit, both of them did it. One went forward, and one they actually worked really well together. And that's where we are lacking. And I also think we're lacking that ability, technical ability in the middle of the park at the moment. The one that can keep it in tight spaces and just get an extra pass out.
Well, I've been looking at footage of Mello. Although he's only about 5'8" or 9, he's not a very big guy. But he's not a defensive midfielder. He is good at overcoming the press. He's got that little shimmy. He's got that quick feet. Quick vision. So I think he'll settle in well. He looks a decent player. But and I suspect that Arteta will try and play as part of a double pivot. But personally, I would prefer a proper defensive midfielder in there. A bit like, is it Rice? Did he calls himself at West Ham?
Yeah.
Somebody or Suchek, those two guys put it about. Yeah. You're going to have terrible trouble getting through them. They're good defensive midfielders.
And I like Matty Phillips at Leeds as well. He does a job for Leeds.
Lovely player.
All right, so we've come to an end on another Canon project, but I did actually want to ask John. John, if you had to give the first half of the season marks out of 10, how much would you give Arsenal?
Marks out of 10.
Oh. Yeah.
It's a tough one. Let's be generous and give him 6, eh? How about that?
Yeah. All right.
6 could do better. Could do a lot better. But he flatters to deceive every time, doesn't he, old Arteta? Let's just hope he proves me wrong. I really want him to. I'm an Arsenal fan through and through. I don't want to see the geezer fall on his feet. But to me, he's got a lot to do. He's learning on the job, which shouldn't happen at Arsenal, but it is. And you know what? He probably will get a contract at the end of the season. But I wouldn't at all be surprised.
Yeah. And for you, Richard, a marks out of 10 for the first half of the season?
I'd go 6 again. I think. I mean, there have been a few mistakes like Ainsley Maitland-Niles and that, but it's not bad. We're in a good position. It's what we do from here on there in the second half, isn't it? Can he build on it?
Can I just say something? I know Richard says it's a good position. I think this is the first time we've been at any cup competition in January, 32 years. I know we've got Champions League to go for, which is great. And as I said before, a fourth spot ain't really something you should be like cheering anyway. Do you know what I mean? You ain't won nothing. You've just come fourth. But that's money, isn't it? That's all it is.
It's money, and it's the quality of player that you can attract.
Yeah, exactly. So now that it does mean a lot. It's not a trophy or nothing, but to the club it's money, and to some fans it's probably great. But 32 years since we've been knocked out both cups out of all competitions in January. That's pretty poor for an Arsenal fan, I think.
Yeah, and Godfather yourself, marks out of 10.
Well, after the hiccup for the first 3 matches, I thought we would probably be in a 7. We looked really good. We looked as if we turned a corner. But undoubtedly, the last 3 matches or 4, maybe the last 3, have been a 5. Being knocked out of both cups and struggling to get past Burnley. So the last few weeks have been a 5. So it's funny enough, I agree with the lads. If you split the difference, it's a 6. It's not good enough. Yeah. He knows it's not good enough. He knows that if he continues to produce what we're seeing, his job at some point will be in jeopardy. Now, I don't see him going this season, and I don't want him to go either. I want us to give him what we didn't give Unai Emery, give him some more time to pull it round. I personally think he will, but we won't see it this season. We'll be very lucky to hit 4th or 5th, and give him another couple of seasons. But I think in probably 18 months' time, if it's all going a bit Pete Tong, then we might have to think of moving on. But I do like him. I do like the way his tactics work. But one of the things I might say, lads, is that this system he's got, which is the positional play, juego de position, it requires, and you'll see it with Arteta's team and Klopp's team plays it slightly differently, but it requires not just phenomenal physicality, but mentally you've got to be very tuned in. And the famous goal that we scored, that won Lacazette goal of the month or whatever on the telly, I mean, that was a perfect example where you're drawing the defenders and the opposition into you, and as they arrive at you, last second, you play a really accurate pass, and then that guy has to play a really accurate pass in the last second or two. So you're pulling people out of position all the time. And one of the things I was thinking of saying on this, and I might as well say it now because it's very relevant, when they brought up, I think this either came from Rinus Mikkels, Nichols, or Mikkels, or what was the other guy, or Cruyff. What they said was, whatever you do with where people play, the positional type play, what beats it all is a player that can go past people, right? A dribbler. And I keep looking at our team, and I know we do this that Arteta calls it overload. So you work an overload, and your fullback, say Tierney, goes out, and you work an overload, and he gets in a cross, or on the other side, you've got Arteta and Tomiyasu if he's there, and they work on overloads, which is great. Okay, so you're playing around people. But when we had great wingers, and we used to have some cracking wingers playing for us, a winger does it all for you. A winger takes on the fullback and is gone. They don't need to do a 1-2 and play around you. They do it themselves. So I would love to see us get a player that can take on people and pass and beat them, which unfortunately Pepe doesn't. He half the time, well, of course, he's frightened to go onto his right foot, so everybody knows which way he's going. So that's one thing that you don't read in the papers much. My own personal thing. If we could find a guy that could go past people like this Adama Traore, then you've got another avenue to explore. But constantly trying to outmaneuver people requires so much mental concentration, so much, the aptitude physically to be able to play that game is tough. It's a very tough game. And if you haven't got 22 or at least 18 real top quality players, as soon as 2 or 3 players get injured, as we've seen with Tomiyasu getting injured, we haven't really got another player who can do his job. If Tierney gets injured, we haven't got a player who can do his job. And that immediately breaks apart our ability to attack down either wing. So he's got a lot of thinking to do. And if he could find a winger from somewhere that can go past people, I would love that.
So that's basically 4 players then. This is a striker, defensive midfielder, a winger, and defender. Players that we need, we're short of.
Well, anyway, there's us 4 lads. There's 4 of us.
Yeah, we might be getting anytime soon.
I'll take the central midfield position.
I used to play on the right wing at Highbury Grove, our old school, Alex. So it's the only time in my life I've ever been right wing, to make a political point. But I used to have a skill to just knock it past the fullback and run like blazes.
Well, I'll be playing right back in the dressing in the changing rooms. I won't be playing. All right, lads, it's the end of this latest segment of the Canon project. Really good debate. You know what? I just can't see it. We're not going to be applying any players in this transfer window. I could just feel it in my waters. I can feel it in my bones. We're not going to play any players. But anyway.
Same, us.
But the pessimism. Yeah. We're not.
Can I just say something?
But anyway.
Can I say, sorry, Alex, right? Talking about the contract, Arsenal were hoping that Arteta is going to sign it and stay with him. He might just say, nah, see you later. I'm off to Man City, isn't he?
Might do. Might do.
You know what I mean? we're all assuming he's staying. I can't see Man City wanting him, but you know, he might be saying, "Now you lot do one, I'm off."
But Tel, didn't we not say that before, Tel? Did we not say the fearful that he might actually walk? He might just leave the job.
We were worried, and of course Everton are looking for a manager, and of course Arteta used to play for them as well. Yeah. So I think Stan Kroenke isn't going to be pushing him out because Everton will take him. You know, so be careful. I mean, all I want with Arteta to do is to share the load with some of his backroom team. And I get the feeling he never gives himself enough mental space to step back and think about things, because he always wants to front it up. He does all the after-match talks and that. And his deputy, or whatever he calls himself, Stuyvenberg, and you've got Steve Round there. I mean, he's able to talk it through. He's not trying to, you know, take power away from Arteta. But Arteta just needs to step back sometimes and look at what's going on. And if you step back and look at it, you've got a better steer. You can steer the team better. You've got to look at a bit like driving. You don't look at the road in front of you. You look ahead as well as the next game. And I want him to sort of do that, so that I feel we are getting there. It's slow progress, though, because every manager, if they get three defeats, they're suddenly in massive trouble. So it's tough for him. But I think, I know you and I both liked Unai, and he went and proved it after Arsenal threw him out. He went and won that cup again. So let's leave Arteta there, and let's hope he doesn't get pinched, having made all his mistakes with us.
But Tel, it's like John says, with Arteta, it's like there's like too many false dawns. It's like he goes on a little run, then massive dips. Then they go on a little run, and it's too many false dawns with Arteta. You don't know where you stand. I mean, the performances, like, they blow hot and cold. They blow hot and cold.
And I think that's because he's holding it all to himself, and he's doing what we always, what's the famous management phrase? Firefighting. He's firefighting. He's putting out fire here. He's panicked there. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's firing the team up, and they're getting red cards, you know, and all this stuff is going on. He just needs somebody to talk him through and just take a little bit of pressure off him. You know, the famous Brian Clough that we mentioned earlier. The thing I loved about Brian Clough, apart from the fact that that Nottingham Forest won the European Cup, the equivalent of the Champions League, two seasons running, right? Was sometimes in the middle of a season, he'd say to his deputy, "You take over the team," and he'd take his family off to Spain. He'd go off for a couple of weeks.
Arteta's doing that now,
like that, you know. And a lot of people, one more thing, a lot of people forget that when Ron Saunders left Aston Villa many moons ago, when my old mate, what's his name, Brian McDermott played for Arsenal. I knew him and his parents very well. They lost Ron Saunders, but he had a fantastic team there. They won the league one season, and they actually won it when at the final match of the season. Arsenal beat them 3-1 with Brian McDermott scoring 2 goals. But they won the championship. For some reason he left the club after that, and the bloke that took over from him was a taxi driver. Right? He had I don't know why. He must have been a coach plus a taxi driver. And the manager who created the team was long gone, and the taxi driver guy took them to the Champions League final or the European Cup final and won. So sometimes if you set it up, you don't have to be there every single game. You can give yourself a break and let some of your deputies step in there. You know, there's only so much you can say to players before a game. And I still say he's overcoaching. It would drive me cuckoo to be trying to play and he's belting in my ear. Do this, do that, step back, step forward, go in, go out. I'll turn around and say, mate, I can't be thinking of everything else. And then you're barking all this stuff. Give us a break. So I don't think I'll stop him. But I think
loan.
I think Tavares found it very off-putting because if you happen to be playing on the side of the pitch that Arteta is standing, you come off with a cauliflower ear.
You could argue, Tel, our best game was with his deputy, that AirPod or
Yeah,
against Man
yeah.
City.
Very good point.
That's the only game we've scored a goal.
Yeah.
Here with him. Arteta ain't scored, does he?
I think
Richard, I'll give you the last.
Yeah, I think the other thing we got to remember is this is just quite a young squad as well. So going to have that consistency, but hopefully in the second half they've matured a bit, and from this half of the season and next season we'll get more consistency out of them.
Can I just say, right, they've got this 18 days in Dubai. Now, when they come back, I expect them to beat whoever they're playing. No excuses. I don't care what team they put out. I don't care if the laundry assistant's playing. They need to win that next game.
Yeah, it's a Wolves, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's going to be and they turn us over.
More than you, I think. Yeah.
And now they're up for a European spot themselves. They could turn us over the way it's going.
Lads, I've got to call it quits. This is the end of I didn't actually say that like 10 minutes ago, but
sorry, Alex, mate.
It's the end.
Just come on now.
Got to do a plan. Anyway, lads, listen, thanks for coming on. Thanks to everyone who tuned in, as well, my moderator for the evening show, which was actually David. Always a pleasure. We've got to get back on the Easy Talk, actually. Thank you for that. John Geezer, always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Gooners. Thank you.
Nice one, nice one. And Eltel, the Godfather himself.
Hey, I raced back from Leeds to be on this program. It's a pity I didn't bring that Leeds midfielder with myself.
Billy Bremner.
I should have kidnapped him.
Players. We could do with a few of their players, though.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I will be back tomorrow morning. Actually, giving some more live news in regards to Arsenal and all the transfers. There will be no transfers. You heard it here. Breaking news. Guys, thank you very much. Until then, you have been watching Cannon Fodder, the channel for all over this world.